If when you broke up with a guy, if he got to get half of your stuff and part of your paycheck every month, would you stop dating? Would you just be more cautious in dating, or would you just stay in relationships longer?
If he got to get half of my stuff,
Yeah.
I'm very cautious at
Very
this point. I'm very cautious. What?
you stuff, and they got some of your paycheck every single month. Would you stop dating? Would you be more cautious dating, or would you just stay in your relationships longer?
I'd probably be more cautious.
You'd be more cautious.
I'd
Okay.
probably be single for a long time until I know what I want, actually.
That if you broke up with your boyfriend and he got to have your stuff, you probably wouldn't date for a long time, right? So how do you think men feel about marriage? Because that's what happens to them. Ooh. Uh-oh.
I feel like that's them because majority 9 times out of 10 he gonna propose to you, so he asked for that.
Oh, damn.
Yo, welcome to the show. Another episode of the Other Guys podcast. We are your hosts, AD,
Isha.
Cocktail.
Spoon. Big Spoon. We got Spoon back. You're doing some real country shit last time. So, introduction. Today's topic. In the spirit of Halloween, right? Yep. That's when I did this stuff. Today's topic is: are modern women too scary to marry? Okay, so obviously our typical topics are a little bit more involved, a little bit more thought out. But it was like, you know what? It's fun. It's around Halloween. Yeah. We ain't gonna be able to do this again for another 12 months. Let's go out. And some of the street footage we got was incredible. We had the flash mob come out, and they did a dance to like a 1920s version of Thriller. And we had the women that they were dressing up in costume and all that. So that's the topic today. But before we get into this video, what are y'all's thoughts on the question itself?
So I'm gonna throw a curve. Well, we'll just keep it simple.
Please.
Please. You know all me that do. I'm gonna say yeah.
Okay.
Too scary.
So are we saying scarier than women of the past?
Good question.
Like, where's my needle supposed to?
However you want to take it, however you want to interpret it.
Because I think getting married is always scary. Is it scarier today? I would imagine so.
Yeah, I agree. So it's marriage to modern women. Yeah. So marriage in itself is risky, but today more so than in the past. Correct. I'd agree.
Yeah.
I'd agree. All right. Anybody want to get into specific reasons why, or do we want to jump in the video?
I was gonna bring up how really the legal part of it, but we can dissect that as we go along.
Legal and financial. Are there any states today in America where, like, if you marry a woman and then y'all get divorced, and you have to pay alimony like for the rest of her life or until she gets married again?
That's tough.
Because just that alone makes it too scary.
Yeah.
In a certain state, I just would never do it.
The motherfuckers gotta move. Talking about, we ain't doing it here though. I want you to marry me, but somewhere else.
Yeah, some states is just just cohabitating to get that for you.
Oh yeah.
You stay together.
You can't live with me.
Hey, they got a spot next door though.
Yeah. And again, I am still pro marriage. I believe there's benefits in marriage, but just that alone, I would say, it ain't for everybody. It ain't.
Wait, if you go get married in a different state, how does that?
I think
it would still apply to the state that you reside in, right?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so. So what every man should do is make sure they go to California to get married.
No, I think that's where it's happening.
Should sound expensive.
No, it's just the worst state.
Yeah, period. Yeah.
Period.
If the alimony for the rest of their life did exist, it would exist in California.
Yeah,
fair enough.
For sure. But I think you get a marriage license from that state. I think it's what it is. Yeah, it's from that state.
Okay.
All right, y'all want to jump in the video?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. And again, we've not seen any of this footage. We don't know any of the answers or anything like that. So this is gonna be good.
How old are you?
I am 36.
36. All right. What's been your longest relationship?
About a year.
About a year. Okay. Yeah, so why did that end? Was it more on his side or was it more on your side, you think?
Probably his side.
More on his side. Okay.
Bruh. I say about 4 years.
4 years? Dang, man. You're 23 though. Damn, that's good.
No.
What about you?
I don't know. Maybe 8 months.
8 months? Well, Oh well, then it would be with him, right?
No, 8 months. You said my longest relationship?
Yeah, the longest
It'll be
relationship.
8 months.
Okay.
We've been together for a year and 2 months, so.
Okay, so this is the longest
This
one.
the longest one, yeah.
Okay, cool,
Sorry.
cool. All right, and the last relationship that ended that you were in, was it more on her side or your side?
It was more on my
It
side.
was more on your side. What about you?
It was more on his side.
It's more on his side. It's always the dude's fault, man.
Right. I
Okay.
ain't gonna say nothing though.
8 years.
8 years. Why didn't you guys get married?
That was a high school relationship. So I've been single now for about 4 or 5 years. So that ended right out of high school. So
Whoa. You were since middle school or something?
no, high school. So
Okay.
I'm 29. So I've been out of high school for 10 years, almost 11 years now. So yeah.
Okay, so that ended, you said 4 years ago? So when you were about 25?
4 or 5 years ago. Yeah.
Okay. Well, man, yeah. So what ended, was it mostly on his side or was it on your side?
That was my side, but his side as well, I think. But mostly my side. He was doing a lot of cheating. I just needed to cut it off. So, you know.
So it is transparency from the men.
Yes.
And so what's your end goal? What would you like?
My end goal is something just more consistent, more stable on a regular basis, you know?
Well, are you looking for marriage right now?
Yes, I am. I'm looking for a husband or my husband to find me.
Are you looking for your right?
Yes, because you can't search, so.
And once
Well, you
again,
can, that's-
asking
You think so?
for your financial
When you
support.
broke up with a guy, if he got to get half of your stuff and part of your paycheck every month, would you stop dating? Would you just be more cautious in dating? Or would you just stay in relationships longer?
If he got to get half of my stuff,
Yeah.
I'm very cautious at
Very
this point. I'm very cautious. What?
Okay. Well, let me ask you this: if you broke up with every time you broke up with a guy, they got half of all your stuff, and they got some of your paycheck every single month, would you stop dating? Would you be more cautious dating, or would you just stay in your relationships longer?
I'll probably be more cautious.
You'd be more cautious.
I'll
Okay.
probably be single for a long time
You said-
until I know what I want, actually.
I probably would be more cautious.
Be more cautious.
Yeah, a lot more cautious.
Okay. Now you heard the right person, wrong time kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Now, have you ever met someone that seemed like it was the right person, but you just didn't commit to him at that time?
I think somebody met me and I was the right person at the wrong time and they let me go.
You wouldn't stop. You keep going, but you be.
I wouldn't stop
She was
because
the
love
right
is.
person at the wrong time. First off, bro, let's give it a shot for these questions, man. Like I knew they were going to be good, but damn, I didn't think they were going to be this good. This is great.
Man is a wizard.
See, yeah, so we're asking them because they never see it from the man's side, right? So if you break up, somebody gets half of yours. They never even thought about it. What? No,
The the level of disrespect you just put on me.
yeah. She was shocked. She was.
How dare you?
You can make the suggestion that you get anything over here.
I love the reactions. They just instantly, right? But they never thought about it. And they said, I would be more, the interest, and she said, I would be up until I found what I wanted. And women are always asking, like, why won't men commit?
Because it's scary.
Yeah.
Straight up.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, there's a danger in it. From like I told the one lady, I'm like, it's a threat level. You got to assess a lady's threat level today because they have options to hurt you, where you really don't have anything that you can do. So they got to assess.
Besides, remove yourself from the picture. That really is.
That's all you could do.
That's the only thing you have. Yeah.
There's literally nothing else.
But again, that goes back to the point we've made previously that the men, like a man's leverage lies in the relationship, right? You know what I'm saying? That's why you got
Giving her access to the relationship.
Giving
in
her
general.
access to
Yeah.
the relationship is that's generally a man decides that point, right? That's why the man asks to get married traditionally. That's why generally, even in relationships, it's the day that the man says we go together that you go together.
Yeah.
And you know,
So
women got
access
that
to
leverage.
him, his time, his resources, like that is the leverage.
But you also have to be able to do better than her if the relationship ends or you don't have leverage. So you not only can give her a relationship, but also she has to be replaceable to a certain extent. Or you don't have, hey, I'm the best you can do, and she got all the leverage. So you also have to be able to get something better. She has to believe that, or you don't have any leverage.
Yeah.
And I think I would even break down the get something better just to a point that you can have a better life, right? Because that is a huge part of it, to be able to say, I have the leverage because I know I can choose better, but also being able to set that boundary of, I would rather be alone than be with someone who is like not up to par what I want.
I think that would be good enough too.
Because that's a huge thing I know a lot of men lack when I'm talking to some of my friends and why they got into these relationships. I think it's like that fear or inability to be alone. It's like, I'd rather be with this, low quality woman than be alone. So your point is definitely the primary part of it, but just in general, being able to say, I'd rather be alone than with that person, being able to follow through with that boundary. I think that's a self-esteem thing.
Yeah, and check this out. I think it's another thing that makes it scary. So women can get attention from a better man. Whatever qualifiers you want to use, they can find a smarter man, a man with more money, and he will gladly give her some attention. But will he give her a relationship? And so that's why the leverage is.
I think that's where they run into issues, right? They spend their 20s thinking I can get attention from most guys that I want, and they think that that can translate into I can get a relationship with any guy that I want. Yeah. And those are two different things.
Yeah, and I think the part that men do wrong here is that aren't using their leverage correctly, right? Because if you aren't going to give her the relationship, you need to not give her the relationship. If that makes sense. So you can't be a carrot hanger. You can't be the guy, because let's say there is a guy who does have all these things.
Well, I mean, you could do that. I guess you would just say that guy has bad character.
Yeah, he's got bad character. So that kind of, I see how that can confuse, because she's thinking that she can go get a relationship from that man because he told her she could, but she's not gonna get it.
Yeah, just like flat out lying, like
yeah. So I was listening to Anton Daniels, right? And he was talking about he was basically saying, although he wasn't, he would suggest men to be virgins until marriage. Right. Okay. So they started talking about women being virgins until marriage, and then he said, "Yeah, but I would add that same thing for men for different reasons." And I think that kind of aligns with what we're talking about, because like his argument was like you can use sex as a distraction from doing any of the things that you're supposed to do, right? Whether that's you're dangling women along and things like that, and he's like. So I guess that was his argument. And I was like, is there really a whole lot of value in a man having a low body count or a low body count of 0 by the time he gets married? I think there's some pros and cons, but I think the pros do outweigh the cons.
Yeah, like it's because in that instance, it's so when most people talk about, women, staying virgin for as long as possible, it's the premise that is something that is desirable to a man, right? But in terms of what it sounds like what you just described, that as far as like men hanging on to their virginity, that's a value to themselves.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like now, women who were, just like you said, being distracted, getting off course, and that's something that women can't use like against him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you can't dangle this resource because I'm not, fiending after it like that. It's already been done, decided. So,
and that's another benefit that I didn't think about.
That selection of like, if I want to be with this woman, it ain't even like just because she's fine or she got that good. You know what I mean? Like, it's like she legitimately adds something to the quality of your life.
Yeah,
because that's the only thing you're screening for.
Yeah,
I like that. I'm gonna bring it back on that point that I was making. That women. That you have to be able to do better. A lot of time when women leave, it's an emotional thing. All right, and a lot of times just to hurt the partner, like keeping the kids away, different things like that. It's to hurt the other person, because it's an emotional thing. It's an emotional battle, and that's why it's important for you to really be able to do better. Because if you're talking to a lady and you're like, hey, well, I'm just gonna go and be single and be happy, she will kick you out the door real quick. That's not very much from her side. Right? Oh, if you can't have me, you gonna have nobody. Go have nobody. They'll be fine with you sitting at home while they go live their lives. So that's the point.
Even if they see you happy after you leave?
If you by yourself, if it's not another lady there, no competition, you just sitting there.
Well,
I the vast majority of ladies, because now you're just sitting there. Maybe you're sitting.
But let's say that she sees me having a good time and doing things that I didn't do with her by myself. Do you not think that would still be an effective?
Possibly, but most of the time, whenever you're dealing with ladies, when they're looking at going back to somebody, it's because they found somebody new, not because they got a new hobby. That's the thing that kills them. Well, if you look at these, so I was watching things on the child support court, and women, I've never heard them come back and say, I see him online having a great time, and I want more child support. But he got a new girlfriend, and he's spending his money with her. He needs more. Yeah. I need more money.
What are you? Where are you watching this?
This is like it's
like Judge Judy type thing.
Yeah, it's like they just have just segments of child support court. You know, like guys win, guys lose.
This is what you watch during the day.
This is research, man. It's research.
Look, I will make the point.
No way he's watching this stuff.
I do think that if men had sex with less women, we would be in more relationships. Cause I was telling you about my last relationship, and I definitely think it's because of the amount of women I've experienced that it was hard for me to establish a connection with her.
Yes. You need therapy. For sure. Yeah. So, but you said if men had less sex, we'd be in more relationships.
Less sex with different women. It's because when if you go out and experience a bunch of women, right?
Yeah,
you
experience a bunch of women.
I'm trying to make it sound cool.
Yeah.
Experience a bunch of women. Like you'll try to tie all those experiences together, and you'll have things you like about these different experiences. Like if I didn't know, like if I hadn't met that one girl in Austin, like I can't get out of my head. Now, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so stuff like that'll like cause you to just not be ready to give out your relationship because you like
because I might run across that again.
I might run across that again. I can't just decide today that I've had the best sex I ever had in my life, and like that, getting caught up on that thought and not like progressing past it. You know what I'm saying? Like you got.
Yeah, that's really important.
Marrying age, anyways. Honestly, you are. You're not even at the marrying age yet. You're not ready to settle down. If the perfect girl came along, you'd be like, man, you know what? Right now, I'm gonna get married. Because you know at that point you probably just made it do it to Myron from Fresh and Fit. You probably just getting into the candy store.
I literally just decided when we had that talk. I literally told somebody that like I was meeting with a chick after that, and I used the line like, "Yeah, I'm actively trying to get married now." So,
bro, I'm really telling you, it's different. But
I got comfort and I got marriage. Like that's
you're making sense. And you know what's funny, bro? Because I've known my wife now for 10 years, but we've been married for like a year and a half, right? And I think it is a perfectly logical thought for a man to say, "Yeah, I could, tie myself to this one piece of candy." But man, there's so many out there. Like, how do I? Like, that's a perfectly logical thought to have. But you have to get to that age, get to that point where you're like, no. Like, I know there's variety out there, but this variety is not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for consistency. I'm looking for stability. I'm looking for something that's gonna. So I think that's right. You just gotta meet the right person at the right time. What old girl meant when she said I was the right person at the wrong time. I don't know.
She was a catch. But let's jump back.
Hey, bro. She again, I couldn't see.
I was perfect.
I couldn't hear any of the responses and everything, but I could tell just from body language, she was probably the least marriageable of all the women we probably talked to that night.
Marriageable.
No, just based on attitude.
You gotta start keeping score. Like give them a little marriageable rating.
That'd be great for the videos.
One quick thing I want to add before we jump back to it. To Isha, what you were talking about earlier, the thing of like not just being able to do better, but being able to, just being okay with being alone. Because when we look at leverage in the sense of the relationship overall, it's the general principle of if somebody has something that you want and there's maybe like a scarcity, if you don't think you can be able to get it, I guess being comfortable with being alone also means that someone putting, if she puts like certain demands or things on it and it's something that you don't like, you're not afraid to not cave in. Like you can kind of retain your leverage. They don't have leverage over you because it's not like, I don't really want to do that, but I need her or I need to be with somebody. So, you know what I mean? And I think both being able to get a better woman or even the same quality woman or being alone all fall under the umbrella of the ability, being willing to walk away.
Right? It's like the chick's putting you in the friend zone, right? So if chicks are coming and she like, he got good resources, I'm not ready yet. She put you in the friend zone. You're as happy as can be, but you were talking to nobody. She would leave you there as long as she needed to, until she felt you was moving on to something better.
Well, if we're talking about
that would put another level of fire under a butt.
Because
so at that stage, and I guess kind of making a distinction of you're talking about like these are two people already in a relationship. What is their stance versus someone looking at potentially dating this person, or kind of like you were talking about earlier, looking at actions after the fact. Sure, but I think
all
it's
already in the relationship is because if they feel you're going to sit there and maybe they can come back because they, you know what, he's just going to be alone. He's going to go his own way, and I'll be his way in about 3 years. You know, and I'll give this.
They can think that, but if the person, if the man is like they are okay, because I think the misconception about the leverage is that it's kind of there's two factors to it, right? There's one person looking at how much does this in. I can't break it down the way I want to, but essentially you have to look at what is the weight of the impact for both people. So if I know that I will be okay regardless of this woman being in my life or not, what she does, what she thinks doesn't matter. Leverage, because whatever she thinks, even if she thinks, oh, well, I'm going to leave because, he ain't going to have anybody anyway or whatever. It doesn't matter because that's not affecting my actions, right? When we look at leverage, it's like the ability to convince somebody to do something else.
Well, yeah, and I think it's going to affect your subconscious behavior. Like if you want somebody and you can feel when somebody has that leverage, it's healthy. I think that leverage is healthy, right? Like if she wants a relationship with you, she sees you as a man that can be worthy, like a great man that she wants to be with. It's good. It's good, and you can't just give that up on day one, right? You got to make sure that it's right. Same way with women, it's like sex and their femininity.
Femininity.
Yeah, femininity. Yeah.
They don't use that word in the country too much.
Right. Yeah, it was banned for a long time.
They say I'm finding Nemo.
You can't even say it too often. But who she chooses to give that to, right? Like if you ever had a woman you know what I'm saying, really love you.
Right. Genuine desire.
Yeah, it's different, right? That's why she'll send your food back if it's not right because it really upsets her if somebody does something wrong to you, right? So having that from her, but she's got to use it right? That's why first night, it's hard to use it because all the leverage is gone. Somebody tells you first time you meet them, hey, I like you so much, you can have sex with me whenever you like, and I'll do whatever for you. It's going to be kind of cool, but you really have moved on already. You've already been well, that's done. And so, and so it's you got to use your leverage in a healthy way if you want to be valuable. That's what I'm saying.
I agree with that.
It'll change my behavior. It'll make me change if I want to have sex with you all the time, but I don't always get it.
That makes sense.
Oh,
back in the video?
Yeah, let's go
all
back.
Right, let's
to the
do
video.
it.
Love is great. Love is phenomenal. I love love. I love the idea of love. I'm a Libra. I love the idea of love, but I wouldn't stop. I'd just be a lot more cautious.
You'd be a lot more cautious. Would you stay in your relationships longer?
Depends on what's going on and if some of the attributes that I'm getting leads into maybe someone they're just trying to get something out of me, then maybe yeah. But other than that, no. I keep dating.
Okay.
It's not that hard.
Okay. You've heard about the right person but the wrong time.
Right.
Now, have you ever met somebody who's suitable guy, who's decent, but you didn't commit to him at that time?
I don't believe in that. The right person, wrong time. If you're the right person for me, then you're the right person for me. No matter what time it is, we're going to keep in touch. Things will happen. And at the end of the day, who's ever meant to be for you will be for you. You'll run into them. I don't care if it's 20 years from now, you'll run into them. So.
Okay.
I don't know. I guess maybe. But then, I don't know, bro.
What about you?
No, I ain't never met the right person. I ain't never met the right person.
Damn. Would you risk your life to guard something?
I ain't never met nobody worse shit.
That you didn't have ownership in, and you didn't have control over. Would you risk your life guarding?
That didn't have ownership
and no control over.
So it was this question right here is if you didn't have control of something and you didn't have any ownership or control of something, would you risk your life to protect it? And then you can jump right back.
If you didn't have any ownership or control of something, in general, would you risk your life to protect it?
Yeah. And we could jump back in.
Yes.
I mean, it depends. Probably so. If it's a innocent person or something.
Okay.
Maybe.
Okay.
It just depends. I ain't gonna get in there on no dumb stuff, though. I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. But maybe.
Okay, what about you?
Yeah, same for me. I would probably risk something for, somebody else. Just because, other people need help too. You never know what somebody else is going through. And you helping them may, help them live a little longer or brighten up their day. So,
Oh, you would?
I would. I mean, If I would have a child, a child, I
Well,
don't.
the child is yours.
It may be mine, but at the end of the day, I do not own this. When this individual wants to get up and move and do what they want to do, if they're 18 years old, they can do what they want to do. So I think it works the same way. It's not. I don't own this person. You really don't own anything.
But you do have control, so that would be
A
something you have
little bit,
control of.
maybe.
So,
Maybe.
up until 18, definitely.
Right, up until 18.
So, but anything that
If you really want it, if I'm really striving for it, then yes, I'm gonna still strive for it. No one can stop me for something that I really want. So.
Okay.
Doesn't belong to me.
And you have no control.
I have no control. Who does it belong to? That is the question. If I don't know who it belongs to and I have no control over it, probably not.
Probably not. Okay. Well, do you want to be married one day?
Yeah, I guess so.
Guess so. What age you want to be when you get married?
Man, I don't know, bro. I ain't gonna lie.
What about you?
I want to get married. I want to get married maybe 33, 32.
Do you want to be married someday?
Absolutely. What?
What age do you want to be married by?
I can't tell you that. When I was in high school, I said 25. Here I'm 29, still single, so I can't tell you that.
Okay, well, I'm going to give you one or two options. Answer it as quick as you can. You want a husband that makes more than you or less than you? 2, 1.
More than me.
Okay.
More than me.
Now, do you want to be married someday?
Yeah.
All right. By what age do you want to get married by?
Oh, I don't know. I'm 36. I'm getting kind of old. So, I don't really have a number.
Don't have a number? Would you say sooner than later?
Absolutely.
Sooner than later. Okay. I'm going to give you two options and try to answer it in 2 seconds. Would you want the man you married to make more than you or less than you? 1,000. 2.
That doesn't really matter.
Doesn't matter to you?
Nah.
Okay. Well, you only got 2 options. You want them to have more or less?
More.
More. Okay.
A forced answer. It shouldn't count.
It's only 2 ways that it can go.
But that's not really important.
It's not important?
No.
Okay. Well, do you want to have kids one day?
Yeah.
So, do you want a man that can be able to provide?
Yeah.
Okay. So, if you met the right guy, and 6 months after y'all met, he was the right guy, but you're only, you said 22, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he asked you to marry him 6 months from now, all right, would you say yes, or would you feel you're too young?
We talking about him or we talking about somebody else?
Well, I'm not going to put him on the spot like that.
So we talking about somebody else?
We're just talking about hypothetical. You met somebody?
Just for 6 months?
Just, it's
No.
earlier.
No.
Okay.
No.
I thought you don't believe it.
You just don't believe it?
You think I'm gonna marry somebody 6 months after meeting them?
You would have married me 6 months ago.
And what do you,
No.
okay.
I'll be yes in a year or 2.
In a year or 2, okay. Thought you said sooner rather than later.
Yeah, but I'm also not stupid. I need to see how a person behaves in a full season, a full year, like in all 4 seasons.
Okay.
You know?
If I really like him, I see the attributes in him, yes.
Yeah, okay. That's good. Good stuff. Okay. Now, do you think it's a person's responsibility to make themselves happy or for others?
Themselves.
Okay.
Absolutely, themselves.
Do you think it's a person's responsibility to make themselves happy, or you think it's other people's job to make them happy?
Shit, it's a person. I don't really care what nobody think about me, as long as I'm happy.
What about you?
That's a hard topic because some people go through depression, so it's not always easy for them to make themselves happy. So I would say the opposite of making yourself happy, try to make somebody else happy.
Okay.
I think it's your responsibility to be happy. At the end of the day.
So would you?
How much time do we have left on the video? 11. Okay, cool. So I saw you were taking down.
Yeah. I don't remember the exact question, but it reminded me of a topic that Kevin Samuels brought up, and I think you posted this on Facebook. Women today, we're talking to a black woman who's 36, who's been looking for marriage for since 18, and ain't found it, right?
Longest relationship is only a year. 36.
Is a year, right? Mm-hmm. So it leads me to believe that she believes that choosing wrong is worse than never choosing at all, right? But in reality, it's better that you have a husband and someone that you can depend on than no one else at all, right? And it doesn't take. So well,
I disagree.
Well, I mean,
Coming from it from their perspective, where they don't lose half of everything and they actually gain something. It boggles my mind that women are so afraid of marriage when they win at the end of it anyway.
So there's a difference. I'll try to condense this. So one, just the kinds of people that I deal with and different stories I hear. I see the worst, and I have seen the worst in a lot of people, like regular basis people. Selling and using, like drugs in the home, lots of physical, mental, emotional abuse, abusing the kids, cutting off their contact with outside, like family and friends. So when we're looking at the majority of situations, sure, there's, I'm more inclined to agree, but I know those exceptions, I guess we're going to call them, where there is, like violence, like just straight up abuse.
do you think the average man is abusing their wife?
No. But I mean, that's what I mean by making sure not to choose wrong. At the core of it, I think you don't just marry anybody. But to the general thing of like what this is focusing on, then
Does being married make it easier to abuse someone?
Absolutely.
And how is that? Where people already live together, and now they live together. So that doesn't change. You get married, you move in, but they've been living together for 5 years before they got married nowadays. So how does it make it?
So I do think that being dependent on a person makes it easier for them to abuse you.
Absolutely.
If I can kick you out and beat your ass, it's like that's a lot. That's a lot.
It's not like you got robbed. Like that wouldn't have got said last time. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what you bring to the show. That right there.
Well,
Validating this man's appearance on the show. Yeah. But I mean, they're, closer, like, in a very logical way. Okay, if I'm going to, every day, as soon as I wake up, I'm going to have my coffee and I'm going to punch you in the face. Literally, it's here to do that, if you're living with somebody. But again, that's comparing, like, marriage versus like living with somebody. There's all these factors that go into it. But I guess to kind of get at the heart of the issue, I have seen couples and even my own family members, when there is severe issues going on in the relationship, there is this stigma of wanting to protect their marriage, because it's not just I want a successful relationship. There's this marriage and the thought of having a failed marriage, and I even seen this in like men and women alike. They, at least from my understanding, they did nothing wrong in the relationship. Their partner, abused them, had an affair, all this other stuff, and they will still feel an incredible amount of shame for having a failed marriage.
Right, 'cause it's embarrassing. And
yeah,
people look at you.
Exactly.
And I would argue, because if these people are not very religious, I would argue that that's just where that person moves, because people in relationships with no marriage do the same thing. They get abused in the relationships. The kids get abused. It's same situations whether they're married or not.
Right, and that's kind of my point with that, because there isn't that shame of I don't see many people saying, "Oh, I have a failed relationship." It doesn't it sucks. It's not happy, but that doesn't carry near the amount of weight as saying, my marriage failed. If you can look at anybody saying, "Oh, I've dated 3 people," it kind of means nothing. If you say I've been married 3 times, it's a whole different thing, and so people will be more likely to figure out a way to make this work or just stay in it because of that stigma. Does that make sense?
I disagree, because if I
this
look,
is go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm looking at the women on so in general, I expect that any given person at any given time is going to have more failed relationships than successful ones, right? Or ones that you get one that goes the distance and that's one, right? Yep. I'm expecting that you dated 2 or 3. But when I look at women who call in the Kevin Samuels show and they say, "Hey, I'm 30, I'm 40, I'm 50, I've never been married," I think that the woman who's been married 3 times has something figured out that the woman who's 40 and never been married once, but just has a high body count, has not figured out yet.
Sure. Would you want to be, if you limit it to those 2 options, then yeah. Right? Kind of like comparing.
I mean, is that not where black women are today? Are 75% of them not being married?
I think
ever?
There's also some.
You have the relationship has the opportunity to go bad and fail either way, whether you're married or not. But if you can't secure provision from a man to where he wants to give you his last name and things like that, it means that you're only going to get the negative shit. You're never going to get the financial or legal benefits, regardless if it goes well or if it doesn't.
I think it's just another excuse people use to justify staying in bad situations. I mean, I think that's it because they'll do it. The other, it's just, oh well, it's my marriage.
And, and that's not why that girl is. I mean, she didn't say that because I'm scared he's gonna abuse me. She said that because she doesn't mean what she says. And I think we'd get a lot further as men if we just realize that sometimes women just be saying stuff. sometimes they just say things, and you don't have to hold their words at law. You listen to them, respect them.
They say it because it feels.
I literally,
it's what they feel in the moment.
I sat at a table, and this girl listed off these 3 things, and I said, like, one of the things was he need to have a big bank account, right? And so I just used myself for an example. And I said, well, I got a probably average, slightly above average bank account. Can we still get married? And she got over it that fast. Like her whole like top qualification. She was like, yeah, we could. I'm like, see, you didn't even mean that. You just said it.
Super.
You didn't mean it.
I think a lot of it is they're just super justifiers. A lot of people are. And they have to tell themselves a story to make their situation okay, or they're gonna go crazy.
Yeah.
So you got to make it okay. So why aren't you married? Well, it's because I didn't find any. Well, I was the right person, but he left. Well, then that would just say that maybe you weren't the right person if he didn't choose you.
It's pretty conceited to say I was the right person, just wasn't the wrong time.
Well, for him,
That's what she said, though, right?
Yeah.
And
I kind of made a face when she said that. I was like, the audacity.
It's an avoidance of accountability. It's really what it is.
So they just an excuse. So I think that one's just another excuse. Now, if these were highly religious people, if we were in a very traditional country, then I would go along with that. They get married and they're going through, the worst of it. They're going through hell. They'll stay in those marriages. We don't have that here. We got
most time women are leaving because they woke up and I'm not happy today.
Yeah. So I think when we look at the average man and the average woman, like those kinds of dynamics, I'm more inclined to go with that. But again, devil's advocate, I've seen those extreme experiences, and I think that it's worth taking that into some level of consideration. Sure, there are people who experience that.
So let's ask it this way, because I've thought about this. Right, let's say you have a daughter. Right, I think you're the only one at the table who has a daughter.
Yep, two.
Right. So imagine, and we're me. I like black and white. Okay, so screw you. But let's just say she has one of 2 outcomes, and you get to choose for her. Either the outcome 1 is she's going to live to be, she's basically going to die alone. She's never going to marry a man, right? Or option 2, she marries a man. He's not perfect. She is not exactly what she wanted. They have issues, right? And it's an average marriage in every sense of the word. And to me, average is negative to me, right? I don't want average income. I don't want I don't want average anything. But if you could choose for your daughter, right? She's the average woman who's single, right? Who makes average woman money long term. Black woman, $32,000, right? She's likely not going to be able to retire. She's going to likely end up homeless if the government doesn't step in and do something, or she's in an average marriage where not all of her needs are met or her wants are met, but she has an average guy, right? Which would you choose for your daughter?
Obviously, the average thing.
Which one?
The marriage. But I think I'll just add this in. It kind of goes to what you were saying before about marriages, is that it's like up until you're in a marriage that works, everything else is a failure in terms of that goal, right?
Technically, yeah.
So kind of like when you look at the mentality of kind of like waiting, picking the right person, it's like you can't automatically predict that someone's going to be single forever.
Yes, you can. You can look at a black woman and know 75% of them are going to be single forever. That's where they are.
Statistically. What I mean is like the mentality towards it, right? Like people who are saying, I want to be selective about who I marry, they're not automatically saying, I'm going to be single forever.
Some of them are. If you
unless that's just
everybody want to be selective about who they marry?
Because everybody, they want.
So that's an excuse.
Actually, no.
So you know someone who wants to marry just anybody?
There are people out there. You see,
they're probably black women.
Man,
somebody
digging into black women today.
Well, I'm just going off statistics.
Hashtag black women.
I'm just going into statistics. Yeah. I love black women. I'm married to a black woman.
My best friend's a black woman.
I got one at home. I own one of those. Yeah, absolutely. I have that mama.
I have black friends. I can say that.
Oh goodness. I forget where we were going with that, but
I mean, but back to the original question. Is it scary?
Yeah.
And what makes them scary? I think it's because they don't really want to get married. Because I think by default,
Be
when
married.
somebody
They
be
don't wanna
married,
be married.
yeah, that's
Yep.
a good.
there's a
good
distinction.
Exactly what I was gonna
There's a
say.
distinction.
Because when you like perfect examples when you asked a girl, right? She said yes, and you asked her if she met the perfect guy.
The guy, he was good
Because
for you.
I have met women that want to get married, and I know that 6 months is enough time for them to see. And if you are, they're at least ready to take the steps. They're not gonna say no. They're not gonna be like, nah. They're open to the possibility that I can meet him any day, and I'm ready to do what it takes because that's gonna be the person that's ready to give in some of what she's done. Right? If she does develop some bad characteristics over time, she's ready to change them. Right? Same way with a man. Right? If you make up in your mind that I do want to get married, you're not worried about what you're missing out on. You're not worried about
You've made the decision.
You've made the decision. And so I think a lot of women are just answering that question based off of like what they're expected to say. Oh yeah, I want to get married, but oh no, not if it happens this way, or not if it's this type of, not if it's that. No,
Not
they
if it's
don't
too
really-
hot, not if it's too cold.
Right, exactly. You know what I'm saying? Only if it's just right. It's 72 degrees. You got ass going. You can
I
just
said,
ask me
yeah,
to
but
marry
hold
him
on,
in
let
the
me test it
wintertime.
real quick. Yeah. It's like a lot like that. And you got more we're going to jump back in. Because we got about 11 minutes left of
Yeah,
it.
let's
And
jump
some
back
good
in.
stuff.
Let's jump back in.
Date a man seriously who went to strip clubs regularly and was on sugar baby dating sites.
No.
Okay.
No. Let me add on that. He needs to be able to speak on those things. Actually, no.
No.
Continue.
Okay.
Maybe yes to the strip clubs, but definitely no to the sugar baby. You not why you need a sugar baby? No, hell no. You can look, you can't touch.
No.
You wouldn't do it. Okay.
Man, she better not have said, yeah, I'm going
The third strike.
Because he giving them more money than he giving to me. Like,
Okay.
I'm not going to apply
I'm
to
just
the
saying,
website. I'm
he
going to apply
to
my
strip
time
clubs.
into the
He going to, I'm not saying you. I'm saying
Hey,
he going to strip clubs and on
he's
dating sites.
lobbying for this.
You tricking out.
I'm not tricking shit. Nothing.
I'm not talking about you,
You're going to have to
man.
bleep me out, bro. I ain't going to trick nothing to the... Nothing. We're going to get off that.
You know, have you ever dated a man who brought past issues into
Yes.
the relationship?
Yes.
And you think men need to handle those issues?
Absolutely. Everybody, anybody, a woman, a man needs to handle the issues originally before you go into a new relationship. You're gonna fuck up what you have if you don't. Yes.
Now, for your serious relationships, have you went through therapy, anything like that for each one of them?
I've only had one real serious relationship. I have like other few flings, but yes, I do see a life coach. I think that's very important. If your arm is broke, your leg is broke, you're not gonna let it be broken. You're gonna get it fixed. Same thing for your heart and your mind. You need to get it fixed. You need to go see someone. So yes, I believe in getting therapy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, for your own relationships, have you had therapy after them?
Yes, I do have therapy, but it's probably a more broad. I just think I need therapy in general.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Okay. So, have you ever dated a man that brought issues from his past relationships?
Yeah.
And have you ever dated a lady who brought issues from her past relationship?
Nah, I think I'd be the issue, bro.
You think you'd be the issue?
My man knows
Bro,
himself.
one thing about this guy's
I'd be the issue, bro.
Okay. So you have. So what about have you gotten therapy for traumas in your relationships? Okay.
No.
Now, let's say a woman has a decent husband, but she's not happy. Do you think a woman should stay in a marriage?
I don't think anyone should stay in any marriage if they're not happy. Like happiness is overall like what we talked about earlier. You have to find your own happiness. You're responsible for that. You cannot blame anyone else for that. If you're not happy, you need to get up and move around.
Okay.
Get it together.
Let's say a woman has a decent man. Okay, so the guy is a decent guy, but she's just not happy. Do you think women should stay in those relationships?
Yeah. I mean, I guess it depends on the nature of the relationship. If you're married, absolutely you should stay. If you're not, then it's up to you to decide whether or not you want to participate in a relationship now or not.
Right. Do you think it's harder to end a 1-year marriage or a 2-year or a 3-year long serious relationship emotionally?
I think it's more difficult to end a 2-year serious relationship.
Okay. And what's the difference between between a marriage and a serious relationship?
So a serious relationship is like you practicing being married. I guess it's based on your beliefs if y'all want to live together or not live together. It's just getting to know each other, because once you get married, you got that bond, and then trying to get a divorce and going to court and things like that is just a hassle. So yeah.
Now, emotionally, do you think it would be harder to end a 5-year marriage or a 9-year relationship?
9-year relationship. Yeah.
Okay. Now, do you believe that men like to treat women kind of like territory? I'm pretty sure you experience that. Do you think that's right, wrong, indifferent?
Let's be real. I've not been in the room with a divorce lawyer or anything like that, right? But I think emotions, obviously 9 years is probably a little harder than 5 if you just talk about time. But if we're talking about like what a woman is going to do in order to secure the resources after Dr. Dre's wife, how I think he's having to pay her like $2 million a month, and he's paying for her lawyers. That's emotions you've got to add on top, the emotion that it takes to go through a divorce and realize I have to pay for the person in charge of getting the divorce from her, and I got to pay her continuously. Yeah, I'm pissed. I'm getting emotional thinking about it.
This is from the lady's perspective, though. So
that's exactly what I was gonna say.
They say the relationships are harder. So I asked that question to illustrate, because I knew this. Let's say you meet a girl that was in a 5-year relationship, all right? And now, only if she's not the alpha in her past, if she's not an alpha widow, okay, let's just erase that, because if he is, you probably won't ever measure up. But your marriage is not as serious to her as that previous relationship she had until it's been a bit longer than that. So if you are in a 3, 4, 5-year marriage, it's just the same as the last boyfriend that she had.
So you saying women measure based off of time, and I think that's and trauma they went through. So how hard they fought and got back together. How many things they went through. But again, that's for a man, because you realize what you did. You gave up your leverage. You chose her, and that's why the fact that a marriage has to end is gonna hit you so hard. And I don't know why it's been constructed that way legally too, but it hits you hard because you asked her to marry you. Yeah. And look what you did. You asked the wrong one. So think about to feel the pain.
Because it's that long relationship is more important. So if I've been in a relationship for 8 years, like the previous, I think it was 8 or 9 years she was in a relationship. So you're gonna need to beat that before she considers it more. It was a bigger deal than her high school boyfriend.
I think it's hard to gauge.
And
because,
then one last thing,
yeah,
she also gets incentivized for leaving you.
That's true.
Yeah, no, for sure.
She's about to come up.
Yeah. No, kind of to the point I said earlier, I think it's kind of hard to quantify how, because it can be so subjective, the sentimental value of marriage as a title, right? So, because
go ahead.
Because, I mean, I guess the simplest way to put it is if you think about I can't even think, just thoughts surrounding marriage and how that's different from a relationship, why anybody wants or chooses to be married instead of having a relationship. There's clearly some significance in there. It's not just the securing of resources, although that's obviously a part of it, but there is still some value in there, and that value can be very subjective. So
what I'm hearing, and y'all tell me if you think I'm wrong, is that the answer is different amongst men and women. I'm saying that the 5-year marriage is emotionally harder to leave. The women are saying the 9-year relationship.
Yeah, I say 5-year marriage.
So is that what? So
because that's the reality for us, but it's not for them. They get a reward. I don't know how I don't have it, but I asked the lady in gray with the glasses that her answer was half.
Half what?
Of your shit.
What?
What's the difference between a marriage and a long-term relationship? Oh yeah, I haven't even got there yet. Actually.
Okay. Oh, damn.
But what she said, she said half. That was her answer to the question.
And that's a real answer.
I don't know how they have it, but she said half. That was the difference. Because they the terms, like I tell people, the relationship, if they had a 3-year-long relationship in high school and you've been married for 2 years, that's weighing on her more than your marriage is.
Yeah.
3-year relationship
in high school.
Yeah. But that's because at the marriage is like you're wagering that even, and this is the wager you made. You said that I'm going to do better with you. No matter what happens, it's going to be better than you leaving with half my stuff. So you got the possibility of losing half of everything you got, right?
Yes.
But you're banking on the fact that no matter what happens, it's going to be better than that.
Well, you know what? And I've since realized I was wrong. I came in saying I'm not ever signing no divorce papers. Period. So you can move out, you can move across the country. I'm not signing. Yeah, but I don't think that's legally possible. I think you can get a divorce without the other.
Absolutely.
The potential reward outweighs the risk.
I did not calculate that in. I didn't realize that.
But like all in all, the potential reward, like you knew that being married, specifically to your wife, was going to be better for you in the course of your life than the risk that you assumed by.
Yeah. I realized that. Like, what is it? What do they call that? It's a calculated risk. I understand that this is a risk, but I'm aware. I believe that I'm going to do everything I can to mitigate the risk. Right. Whether that's a prenup or something like that, or whether it's I'm going to be such that guy, that nigga, like a leader to where even if you were to leave, you're not gonna find nobody better, so you might as well stay.
It's a and reason. Also I just want to add it's
a good motivator.
The kind of the pre-selection part and the fact that like, okay, you're going to choose like, is this a woman who will have, as far as women go, minimal risk of leaving, because you can look at different character traits and see a woman's aptitude for a long-term relationship and other things, because that's a huge part of it, right?
Which is a lot different than just choosing a woman that you want to sleep with. Like the value scales are different.
Absolutely. Yeah, astronomically different.
I think men turn off the logic a lot of times when they decide to get married and saying, hey, it's time for me to step up and be a man. And it's not a logical thing. It is, I need to take this responsibility on,
right?
And because I'm a man, and then I think that's it.
Logically, it doesn't really make a lot of sense.
To get married, we turn off the logic and we jump into our emotional selves to move forward. Because if we were thinking logically, we'd be like,
because to me, it requires faith. You have to have some kind of faith in it.
You got to turn off the logic,
and so you can't like look at. If you get caught looking at just data and just thinking about why, I don't think it really makes sense on paper, right? Like, why should you get married?
Yeah.
Not on paper, but if you have faith that somehow it's going to make you a better person and things will pay off.
I think this is why I asked the question, is it, whose responsibility is it to make you happy? And then I asked them if a woman is not happy. I didn't say.
I think they all said themselves.
They all said themselves.
Okay.
But if a woman is not happy in the marriage, only the one lady said that.
Interesting.
That she should stay. So I asked if she's not happy, not if he making her happy, not just if a woman is not happy in a relationship, she should stay. And they're like, no.
So the solution wasn't I should work on myself and my own happiness. It was I should leave.
That's why 80-90% of the women leave, because that's exactly how that's why.
I will tell you though, happy wife, happy life makes sense to me. This is why I think the woman's happiness is a little more important in a relationship. Hear me out.
Woman's happiness is a little bit more important
because she is much harder to please, like emotionally. It's easy to keep you happy. You only require like 2-3 things. It's no pressure. Keeping her happy. I mean, it should be within reason. Obviously, it should be like something crazy, but. Keeping her happy is going to require just a little bit more out of you. You literally just told me how you literally motivated to be the best option on the list. Few things can motivate you like that. Like
so it's
marriage.
Kind of
emotions are more important. Because I don't necessarily disagree off top, but I also go ahead.
I was going to say, like, put it this way: her gauge. If I can only look at one of you, right, and I wanted to know if your marriage is good or not, I would look at her gauge versus yours. Yours doesn't.
I agree. I agree with you, but it's the way. So instead of saying I'm doing all of these things to make my wife happy, was the exact. Well, you shouldn't do it like that either. If you are moving in a way that like you're submitting to her to make her happy, then she's going to keep going and going and going until she kicks you out the door.
Yeah, you shouldn't submit for happiness. You should just.
Well, if you're doing things to make her happy, you are submitting to her. I want this. I want that. then you deliver, then you submitting to her request.
You don't listen to the wants. I think you just know the needs. You know the needs. Right?
Exactly. So I was just making sure. It's like, do you understand what?
That's true.
Do you understand what makes women happy? Because saying yes is not.
Saying yes is not it.
It's not what makes them happy. A lot of times saying no. I dated a girl and she said, she's like, man, you know, you tell me no, and nobody has ever said that, and I need that.
Remember what we said earlier? You can't listen to what they say all the time, man. No. Just for the own good.
Right.
Let me put it this way. I think it might even be better to say, instead of gauging and looking at their happiness, I would say the woman that has the highest level of discipline and the highest level of standards for herself is probably the better marriage, right? Because like standards for herself. So meaning,
like in character.
No. Meaning, like, let's say you're walking down the street, you see a person who's really overweight, you see someone who's really fit. The person who's fit has higher health standards.
Okay, so those.
Yeah. And so my wife is at the point now where she's like, hey, I think I want to retire. I don't want to work. And I'm like, okay, cool, because I'd rather pay all the bills anyway, so you can shut up about certain things. But in order to get there, these are the things that you're going to have to do. Otherwise, you're going to keep working. Right now, she doesn't like the you're gonna have to keep working if you don't do this part. But the part of, okay, if I do these, I can get what I want. Yeah. That makes her happy. Right. But ultimately it's her choice.
Yeah, but I do agree with you. But it's just the way that you said it would cause people to think, oh man, I need to go and do all these things to make her happy. It's more about being what calls to women's nature, which is the leader. Which is a stoic man, somebody who gets it done, somebody who earns her respect. You know, versus being the guy that gives her everything she wants. But let's jump back into the video, and we're gonna finish it out this time.
All right.
We say territory like
it's like they want to control. They want to be in charge, tell you what to do, or just give you.
I think that's wrong. No one should tell anybody what to do.
Okay. And do you think this statement is true? Okay. Men go to strip clubs to experience what women can get just by going out on the weekend.
Wait, say that again?
Do you think this statement is true? Men go to strip clubs to get the same experience that women can get just by going out on the weekend.
True.
I don't know. I'm not a man. I don't know what y'all experience going to a strip club. I'm gonna say no. It's not the same.
Well,
I don't have a man shaking his shit in my face on the fucking weekend.
Put it like this. Basically, attention from the opposite sex.
I don't know. I don't know. To be continued on that one. I don't know.
Whenever you come out, what do you get whenever you get to come out on the weekend? Do you get a lot of attention from guys?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, but I'm not looking for that. I'm not going out to just spread my wings to be free, to feel good, you know. But I guess it depends on what you're looking for. If you're looking for to get that attention, then yes. If you're just looking to be free, then you may want. I don't look into it as much. This guy's a banana across the street.
Well, okay. What about this? Do you think it's harder to end a 1-year marriage or a 3-year serious relationship?
Definitely a 1-year marriage.
Well, emotionally, I should have said.
Definitely a 1-year marriage.
Okay.
Because it's more like your emotions get tied up in the physical things that you have to physically and legally divide. So because of those things and the money and all that, your emotions get even more locked into it. So.
Okay. And what do you think? What do you think the difference is today between a marriage and a serious relationship, where people like living together the whole night?
I mean, I think one is a legal document. It's binding. It's binding. You can just decide to be like, all right, I'm out if you're in a relationship. But if you are in a marriage, even in Texas, it's gonna take you a month to get out of it.
Yeah.
So it's binding.
It is. Now, a lot of guys, when they date, they want to take control in a relationship, right? So they kind of treat ladies like they're their territory. You think that's right, wrong, or are you indifferent to it?
I think it's funny because sometimes I think I like to feel like that, like, I'm his. But at the same time, it's a limit. Everything in excess is bad. So, like, you can't tell me what I want to do. I'm very, like, headstrong in the things that I want to do, but also I'm yours, you know. So.
Okay. Now, a lot of guys like to, in relationships, they like to be in control, right? They like to treat their lady like part of their territory. Do you think that's right? Do you think that's wrong or indifferent?
I think it's right. He should be protective of what's what he go home to every night and who he had to wake up to every day.
Okay. And do you think this statement is true? Men go to the strip club. When men go to the strip club, they go there to get the same experience that women can just get by going out on a regular weekend.
I would say that's somewhat true.
Okay. So let's say if you're dating a guy seriously and he's like, hey, you know what? You got to kill your social media.
Okay.
Would you do it?
Is he gonna do his?
No. He just wants you to kill yours.
No, it's gotta be a mutual. It can't be a double standard. You can have this and I can't. No, we gotta come to an agreement. We gotta compromise.
How you know he didn't want to see if he was going to be yours first though?
So tonight's topic is: are modern women too scary to marry?
No, I'm not scared to get married.
So how do you think you did on those questions?
I think I did good on those questions. I feel like if the young ladies or whoever is watching this is maybe around my age or my age, would probably agree with most of my answers.
So let's run through some of the answers. So you mentioned that, you know, if you broke up with your boyfriend and he got to have your stuff, you probably wouldn't date for a long time, right? So how do you think men feel about marriage? Because that's what happens to them. Ooh.
I feel like that's them because majority 9 times out of 10 he gonna propose to you. So he asked for that.
Oh damn. He asked for it.
He asked for it. It's 50-50, I guess.
I'm sorry, he asked for it.
Wow.
I guess you can say that, but I don't agree with you.
And so, and if men get a similar experience, so when men go to a strip club, then they have ladies throwing themselves at them, trying to be in their space, right? Now, when girls go out to the club on the weekend, they get guys throwing themselves at them, come to them, and so on, right? So it's guys go for that same experience.
Okay.
So why is it okay for ladies to go out on the weekends? It's not okay for guys to go to the strip club.
I just say it's not okay for them to go.
You said you wouldn't date them.
Yeah, because he going regularly. It's okay to go every once in a while, but you want to go regularly. I'm not going out regularly. So if you want to touch on that, I don't go out to get attention from anybody else. I go out to have a good time.
Well, men say the same thing about the club. I'm not picking up strippers. I'm just having a good time. Making you think about it?
Yeah.
Now, also about social media. You mentioned on social media, you say, hey, you said you wouldn't delete yours. But on the sugar baby dating sites, those are websites where men get the attention. Social media is where women get attention. I guarantee you, men don't, like, if we looked at your inbox right now, it'd be blowing up with dudes that you had to reject, not pay attention to, all this kind of stuff, right?
Okay.
Now, men don't have that. We look in our inbox, we just see sent messages and we get left on red, all right? Even dudes with blue check marks. So, to get that same experience, a man would have to go to a sugar baby dating site to get women coming to them. So, why is it okay for you to have social media if he can't have a sugar baby dating site app on his phone?
Me personally, can I speak on me personally, or are we speaking hypothetically?
No. Yeah.
Okay, so me personally, I don't get really that too much attention on social media. I feel like on social media, you actually have to put yourself out there and be active. You know, posting every day what you doing, where you at, who you with, what you eating today. And people want to know. People want to be nosy whether they like you or don't like you, whether they want to be with you or whatever. You know, they always watching, so it's just like, what are you doing? They want to know what you're doing.
Hey, let me ask you this. How many followers do you have?
Maybe like 1,025.
1,025, so over 1,000 people. Okay. So, I mean, even on the sugar baby dating site, the guy wouldn't have half of that. So
Okay, he might have like 30.
Yeah, so that's the thing. So are modern women too scary to marry? Is marriage scary to you?
I mean, I don't know, bro. Yeah. I ain't gonna lie. It is.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
So, real quick, the reason I asked about the no control, right? Say, hey, man, I want to treat you like territory, right, and so on. And say, the lady said, hey, only up to a certain extent. I don't want to be in. No. Pretty much no, right? Same lady who said that she wouldn't, if you didn't have any control, you didn't have any ownership. I'm not risking my life for it. So to tie that one back in for you guys, and yeah, that out on the weekend. The biggest defense the lady came up with, I couldn't put it all in to keep it down. They're like, ain't no, it's not no dudes throwing their stuff in my face. I was like, make the suggestion.
Text a nigga and ask him to.
Yeah, don't do it.
It's the alley out back. Do you want to?
Because if I just do it, it's sexual harassment. If you ask for it,
I am going to advise the women, any women watching this, if he does have a sugar baby website, that is a red flag. I do think that's an appropriate red flag, because that man's chasing something that's not naturally going to come. Like, if he is chasing that attention through
it's
that
a red
website,
flag.
it's a red flag. It's too easy to get
That
out
he
of
had one, or that he actively has one,
that he actively has,
and he's saying that he wants to marry you.
Even if he had one, I think it's at least a yellow flag.
I disagree.
I think it's the same as a woman having Instagram, because it's literally the same effect. The level of cheating.
So I think two things. One, I feel like you can let me know if this was along your line of thinking, Spoon. Like, in some ways, I think you could see that it's almost like a low quality behavior as a man.
Because she's passively getting that behavior.
I disagree.
Because he's actively seeking it. He's like, please give me some attention, somebody.
Right, yeah, like literally.
Wait. So the only difference between him and you is that you go out and get, it's not, you don't, men aren't getting sex for women for free, right? You're putting in some time, energy, and money. He just has a post or a page where women can come find him. How is that any different than you going out wearing nice things and attracting women?
Because I'm doing it in a way that's going to genuinely make women happy. You got to know how to make women happy, man.
You think him paying them is not making them happy?
Yeah, but guess
they
what?
probably rather have him than you.
If that's what he wants, though. I'm just saying, if he wants sugar babies,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Those are easy to get if you got some money. Like, you can exchange money for time, you know what I'm saying?
But how is that a red flag, though?
If she is not looking to do that, if she is not looking to be a sugar baby, you don't want a man that's chasing sugar babies.
But you do want a man who's
if she wants
making
a man
enough
that's
money to pay all your bills.
I mean, again, that's using their logic. What they say.
Look, if a man got money, the women he talking to,
bills. I don't want to be no sugar daddy.
What's the difference?
Because you looking to recruit.
No, like, man, we had this stuff from the Boondocks.
Am I not my wife's sugar daddy?
What did they say on the Boondocks? Be like, but I'm paying.
Yeah. Sugar babies are like slots on a roster, right? You're not looking to do anything with them. You're looking to get them in, get them out, run through them. You know what I'm saying? You're buying the attention that you couldn't attract naturally, right?
Not necessarily. No. Or you're saving time.
You say a lot of men are just efficient. They're just like, you know what? I could go out here to clubs and do all this stuff. But you know what? So women will say, oh, he throwing his money around. So they don't want you to have any leverage. So it's offensive. You go there, they're like, okay, his money, I accept that, let's go. And it's efficient.
I guess I'm not equating sugar baby to wife. Those are two different people to me.
Well, I shouldn't have did that. You're right. You
know what I'm saying? Those are two different.
You can
people.
have an exclusive sugar baby. You can do that.
I mean, that's your wife now.
But isn't that still equating the two? Like,
I mean, I look at those as two different relationships.
Here's where we were going, though.
I would never treat a wife
man
like a sugar baby.
who uses money to attract women is not that much different than a man who uses his looks, his charm, his charisma, his status to attract. The end goal is
different
the same.
leverage.
Yeah, I'm not saying nothing wrong with using your money to attract women, but if you're using your money to attract sugar babies, like your money is to attract.
Oh, you're
women.
right. You shouldn't be trying to get men sugar babies. You shouldn't do that. It's women, whether you're sugar baby or a woman, it's the same thing. I'm not getting the difference.
No. Your wife is not a sugar baby.
She's damn near it.
No. A woman who provides.
Well, why would you
Okay,
say?
no,
Why would you say it's
When I say
different?
sugar baby,
We
you don't
keep
take
going
care of
back
my
to the
kids,
same-
right? You don't
Okay,
take.
no.
You don't take care of my home.
I mean, no.
You
You could hire a sugar baby to do those things.
You could, but
I guess I gotta
would people
understand it.
seeking sugar babies do that?
It depends.
Right.
And so, well, if you go down that route, then it kind of goes to the other thing I was bringing up is difference. I think premise, purpose, intent, that's so important when we look at these things, because in the aspect of like social media, for example, like social media is a very easy way for women to get attention, but that's not the sole purpose or only way to use that, right?
So-
because in the same way that you could have a sugar baby that reminds you to schedule a doctor's appointment, look out for help, but are you going to? So that's what I mean by the looking at the purpose or
I see what you're saying.
intent behind it.
Sugar
You know what I mean?
babies go. But I've known women who were sugar babies before, and one of the things that they will often try to do is lock down that guy with that money.
Yeah. Sure.
So you got professionals who just
I want to take this from one relationship to the next.
Here's the key difference.
They're trying to get a promotion.
You have to pay that sugar baby for her time. If you're a man of quality and some money, you don't got to spend none of that money. The idea that you have the money and she knows your car's not going to get declined is good enough. You don't actually have to give her anything.
Like Myron from Fresh and Fit, he actually says he's on the site. He doesn't give them money. But if they will go with you. You take them to a nice restaurant. They can be your sugar baby without giving them direct cash or paying rent. It could be experiences. I'm on boats. I'm eating. I'm going with him. He flying me over here just like he would do your girlfriend. And some of them take on the role of a girlfriend. They give them the girlfriend experience, and they feel like if he talking to somebody else, then he's cheating on them. If it was a show with Fresh and Fit where he was like, "Well, could your sugar daddy go do something else? Like, if he want to cheat, I could cheat too." So it depends on what those people are looking for. A sugar. This is basically a subscription girlfriend, which that's all of them because none of them are free.
That's my wife. If I run out of money, she runs out the door.
Yeah,
my wife
but guess what though? She's not tipped to the extreme. You can't. Well, I ain't gonna say you can't only give her money, but there's an understanding that hey, I'm not just gonna pay you for your time, but I'll take care of this stuff. And she's looking at the other quality.
If you're trying to get sex from a woman, you're going to pay. There's going to be a dollar amount.
Yeah, sure. If it's all money though, red flag, right? The same way that it's she only cares about how much money you're finna give her, red flag, because there's somebody out there with more money than you. If he only cares about having sex with her, red flag. If he's only pursuing women with the idea of sex, red flag, because that man got a lot of money. He can have sex with a lot of women. That's gonna turn out bad.
If you're a woman who's looking for a monogamous relationship, then sure, I'd agree with that.
I mean, even just a halfway response. You don't want him to have prostitutes running in and out the house. You can't. You but don't be attracted to men.
You also have to understand that if you are getting a guy of a certain amount of money, you're going to have to share him.
Yeah, well, how many? Are you sharing them with two women occasionally over time? Or are you sharing them with dozens of bitches a week?
It doesn't matter. So you're gonna have to share them.
Yeah, but there's a big difference though. There's a big difference between a man running prostitutes in and out the house and sugar babies, and a man who just like, okay, he slipped up after a few years.
So one thing, and I know we gotta kind of wrap up soon.
You will let Corey make his statement.
Yeah, I'm done. I'm done talking. I just keep arguing and disagreeing with that.
No, y'all rambunctious motherfucker. Yeah. So I think one thing to look at when we talk about marriage and relationship as a whole. Yes, there's like this most important thing, primary thing women are looking for, resources, primary thing men are looking for, we'll just say intimacy, right? But I think that's why when you see more financial transactions, I'm paying you directly for this. It's just that. But when you look at more casual relationships or marriage, that's still part of it. You're looking for more than that. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna, spend time to maybe take my sugar baby, go visit her grandparents or something like that. You know what I mean? It's like there's gonna be more. There's more depth to it, but that's an important distinction. Because if you just focus on that core need, well, yeah, that's part of it, but there's more depth to it than that, and that's what helps shape the conversation. But
okay, so we can start. AD.
Yeah. What is the question?
Yeah.
Is it
modern woman too scary to marry?
The average modern woman today, yes, absolutely.
Too scary to marry. She's not too scary, but she's close. She's redlining right there, but she's not too scary. I still believe in her.
Yeah. Good point. Average woman, yes, too scary, but I don't choose average women.
I think power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely, and they've been given too much power to crush the other party, and I just think that's the bottom line. If you want to get married and have a decent relationship with a decent power balance, you want a man that can lead, allow him to do so. Come to that man and have yourself a prenup already, so he knows that he can move in that relationship without getting clipped. That's my advice to women.
Yeah,
that's it.
Cool.
It's that simple. I like that. All right. Well, till next time, this has been the Other Guys Podcast. Signing off.
Signing off. I like
That's it.